Religion is a sole mechanism to control humanity. Shouldn't you be questioning the spiritual path you are following?
Because Christianity is a curse. All of the Abrahamic religions have been infiltrated, but Christianity is a curse, a godspell, a gospel, God, Godalesh, the Babylonian deity of fortune in Isaiah 65:11. See, there's no difference between the A's and O's in Hebrew. That's why they spell it G_D, because they know their Bible. So, and their Bible, by the way, isn't called that. It's the Torah or the Talmud. But you Christians, we have the Bible. The Bible, two vowels. See, it's exoteric, esoteric conjuring. That's why there's 20,000 denominations, demon nations, divided nations of this one book, written by the demonologist who wrote the book of demonology, framed his mother so his aunt, Queen Elizabeth, could rule, and him, and then commissioned the Bible. The two vowels. And that has commissioned all this exoteric, esoteric conjuring, cognitive linguistics. And I learned the fruit of the thing. The man that was named to salvation, they sacrificed to their gods. See? And y'all worship the death more than the risen man that they're talking about, the higher ascended being, the one of light that we're talking about, that supposedly was coming, but they were sacrificing him to his gods. And this higher ascended being is of us, really. So see, there's a lot more to it. At the end, you talk about spinning and twisting words, but what I'm doing is unspinning and untwisting the stolen truth. See, there's a lot of us. We're unspinning because we're becoming awake. We are of the light. We're all descendants. And all of this just comes through the fruit, really. You know, the man called salvation, Yeshua, said, you'll know them by their fruit. And look at the fruit of the church. It's bruised, busted, and disgusted. And everything you say about the law and everything is within the confounds of that. It's nothing outside of that. It's just within the confounds of the Bible, the 20,000 divided nations, and nothing outside of that. You see, these are principles of the cosmos. This is also cymatics, the law of creation with sound, which has told us, even by science, that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. And in your Bible, there's a principle in there saying everything was created by speaking, and you're in his image. So, see, they spun the truth against us. And now we're worshiping a deity and filtering our power through that, through one thing. And it's not just us, there's other people doing it too. The Jays weren't around till the 1600s, created by a Mason Italiano mafioso named Gian Giorgio Trezino. And King James was a Scottish Rite Mason, and all these Masons worship Lucifer. And if you're a Mason, you don't know, you will. And you might reason with it, and you might not. But it happens, and it all comes out. See? But under this, if all your knowledge and all your sight and everything is filtered through this, then it becomes delusion. It becomes a spirit of delusion. You literally cast it over you. And no man named Yeshua ever said, please ask this strange name down the road into your heart. He never even said ask his own name, Yeshua, into his heart. The man that was named salvation. He never said that. It's not written. I couldn't find it anywhere. Jesus never even existed. It was Isis, Isis, the goddess of death, which is actually also the sun god. That's why they switched it to the sun god. She becomes the goddess of death in the resurrection process of Horus through Osiris dying. A lot of stuff you guys don't even get out of that one area. And that's why I'm here, to tell my story, because I was a prisoner. I was cursed. I was under the Godspell, the gospel. And I'm here for the remnant, those that know. Because there's Christians that are doing this on purpose. You know, there's Christians that know. There's Christians that want out or want to wait. We have no way to render, nobody has anywhere to render their adoration because we've been lied to so much. And I do believe these are by ancient beings that have had power over us and lived longer. And so through that, we have suffered this amnesia and short lifespan. But getting our power back is how we're going to get through this. Getting our power away from these other beings and deities and false principles and conjuring and crafting. It's witchcraft. That's why it's crafted. The Jays weren't around to the 1600s. And then that helped make the hook of the goddess of death. And then when you say it, Jesus, you guys can't stop saying it. You can't even say his name was Yeshua. You can't even do that. Knock down a whole light here. You can't even do that. And you try to tell him his name, no, it just matters, it doesn't matter. Well, it does in your Bible even, because it's a principle. And you're working the principles against yourself. It's a curse, a spell, a God spell. And that's all I'm going to say, at least to you, to your comment. Thank you for your comment, by the way, for the content.
How do I get free of the spells? The spell, the God spell, the gospel. And God is Godalesh, out of Isaiah 65:11, the Babylonian deity of fortune. Hence, in God we trust. And Godrael, out of Enoch 9, the angel, the fallen angel that taught us to murder. It's a God spell, a curse, out of the Bible, the Bible, the Grimoire, written by the Scottish Rite Luciferian demonologist who wrote the book of demonology, helped frame his mother. So she was beheaded, and him and Queen Elizabeth I could rule. And then he commissioned the Bible, the Bible, the esoteric curse book, the Old Testament and the New Testament, the two Baals that cuts both ways and always. This is why it's contradictory. And there is 20 to 47,000 different denominations, demonations. And out of this curse book, they have asked the goddess of death, Isis, Estes, Isis, Jesus, Isis, from Egypt into their heart space. You see, this is possession. This is why their weaknesses are intensified and they are infiltrated, flopping on the floor, hearing voices, being infiltrated, broke, bruised, busted, and disgusted. All this psychosis of error and delusion, you see, because it's witchcraft. It's all crafted. It's been crafted against them. This is cymatics, that what you say matters. Then they put the crisscross curse around their neck and dressed it up in gold. I'm not a Christian. I just wear the cross, the curse. You see. So, how do you get free of the spells and the curses of Christianity? Well, the first thing you have to do is tell that thing to get out of you the same as you asked it to get in you. You see, this is confession and possession. Even the little mustache man, in his journal, is written that a being hovered above something, maybe the spear of destiny, I don't know, and it was there, and he invited it allegedly into him to do its bidding. This is some stuff. Anyway, so that's possession, you see. So tell it to get out of you. This is confession. This is why you go to confession, you see. This is all Luciferian, exoteric, esoterics. You're under a spell, a God spell. So get the curse off you and get away from the Christians. Jesus Christ is the death chrism. If Jesus is the goddess of death, Isis, Estes, Jesus of the underworld, and the chrism, the Christ, is the Christos, the sacred secretion that runs up the spine, causing the higher ascension and enlightenment, this is the death chrism. This is all secret, hidden Luciferian code. Okay? So, Then you stop telling the Christians that you love them. Stop using the word love. The unused Aramaic cymatics says that it means to bind. Love. Stop saying that. And get them out of your life, because they're cursed. Even my brother, he lives far away, and we don't talk a lot. Maybe I tell him I love him once a year, maybe. If that, at a certain time. Then you learn. Then you take responsibility over your brain, your learning, and your actions, and live a clean life, because curses will enter your life if you do not live clean. They have full disclosure, full exclusivity to you when you don't live a clean life. You don't eat clean, you don't watch clean, you don't talk clean, you don't be good to people, and you don't work stuff out with the ancient ones, the ancestors, the universe like it's supposed to be. Even astrology, and I prefer the 13th sign astrology. I don't prefer tarot because I believe they are infiltrated as well because of the fruit. The man named Salvation said you will know by the fruit. Not to do this other stuff and ask these beings into your heart and know that nobody's coming to save you. No rapture. That was invented by John Nelson Darby in 1830, another Luciferian. So it's all crafted and conjured against yourself. That's how you get free of the spells. Live a clean life. Feel the energy. Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. Take responsibility over learning and your actions. Dang it. Stop waiting on somebody to save you. Do it. And then get a cat. Get a cat. Get some crystals. Don't be afraid of witchcraft. Christians are engaged in it. Be afraid of darkness and evil and death, but not light and witchcraft and enlightenment and higher ascension and oneness and a whole world oneness. Don't be afraid of that. Be afraid of death and evil and darkness. You know? So, I got some crystals, I got a cat, I got some books. I got free of that thing and told it to get out of me. That's the best I can tell everybody. But I tell you what, all the stupid stuff and demons and hallucinations and dreams and everything stops when you do that. Also, get the curse book out of your house. Get all those things that have demonic attachment to them out of your house. So, watch out who you're around and who you get involved with and talk with and the things you do. And you will be free. The truth will make you free. The man named Salvation said that. So may you all be free. You shall know by the fruit. It's written that he said that also. Rapture Day was invented by John Nelson Darby in 1830 through alleged prophetess Margaret MacDonald, a young lady in the church. You can Google this. It was just crafted, manifested. They were already reading Bibles. This is how I know it's a spell, a God spell, a gospel out of this grimoire. And God is Godalesh, out of Isaiah 65:11. The Babylonian deity of fortune, hence, in God we trust, and Gadrael, out of Enoch 9, one of the fallen angels that taught us to murder. It's a God spell, a gospel. Look at this guy. He never smiles. Go read all his stuff. You'll find out that he's part of it. He's an infiltrator, a Luciferian, to disarm the people and wait for the man who's never coming for you, to stop you from taking accountability over your own actions and your family and the people around you and your community, to do bad things and keep waiting for somebody to come save you from yourself, or to not reconcile that old thing you did or that was done to you, so they can just come back and save you. It's all a lie, conjured out of these books. This book that he started doing this out of was written by the demonologist, King James, the Scottish Rite Luciferian Mason, one of the first. He wrote the Book of Demonology, helped frame his mother so that she was beheaded so him and Queen Elizabeth I could rule. And then he wrote and commissioned the Bible to rule the people. And then later, John Nelson Darby. All these spells, they invite the goddess of death, Isis, Jesus, Isis, from the underworld, the goddess of death, Egypt, into their heart space. Then they're possessed. Then they do have visions and prophecies or misconceptions, you see. And boy, did John Nelson Darby, the Luciferian Mason, jump right on that. They were all secret. Luciferians are secret, you see. The greatest way to defeat a resistance is to lead it. Lead that resistance. And so John Nelson Darby conflated and inflated this thing more than King James, so the people, the hidden people, could rule the citizens, the sheep, those that would be susceptible to this very dead beauty. All of the people online, what was it, September 7th? This is not the first time this has happened. They've all tried to predict dates. When I was a Christian, they tried to predict dates as well, you know, and they never ever got it right. Now, all those dates have come and gone, and now the new ones have already come and gone. And now they're saying it's the 23rd, which is going to come and go. There will be no rapture, people. Christians, if you're a Christian, there will be no rapture. I was a Christian for 20 years, 20 plus years, and I'm thankful I got free, told that thing to get out of me, and now I take accountability. I work in the community. I help the people. I make decisions that affect the lives and course of humankind. But you're under a spell, a gospel, a God spell. It's all conjured and craft. This is called cymatics, that what you say matters. Like in the book, the Bible, that's why it's two Baals. It cuts both ways and all ways. It's divided the truth into 47,000 plus denominations, demonations. This is exoterics and esoterics. You're under a spell. You're disarmed. A delusion. Go get your concordance. Look up error. Look up delusion. And apply it to Christianity. No man named Salvation said to ever do any of that stuff. Never said nothing about that. The day of salvation's return is you. And you, the truth is in. And the truth shall make you free. It is written, a man named Salvation once said that. This is propaganda of the spell right here. I wanted to get to this sooner. You're susceptible to the spell, see? Because you asked the goddess of death, Isis, Jesus, Isis, into your heart space. The God spell, the gospel. And God is Godalesh out of Isaiah 65:11, the Babylonian deity of fortune. Hence, in God we trust. In that verse, there's no difference between A's and O's in Hebrew with the Aleph. It's also Godrael out of Enoch 9, one of the fallen that taught us to murder. This is cymatics. What you say matters and creates. There's also cognitive linguistics, that what you say affects your life and everything around you, you see. So, it's all conjured and crafted. That's why there's many things. That's why we call it witchcraft, is crafting. The conjuring comes from things that don't even really exist. But let me tell you this. The man named Yeshu, in Gittin 56b to 57a, the Babylonian Talmud, the Tiny Hat people, they state that Yeshu is boiling in hell in excrement, okay? So, this is false. This is false. You're susceptible to it because it's false. It's not true. They laugh at you. So, sorry to say to break that to you. But nevertheless, you know, thank you for your comment, for the content.
know how they say it ain't no hate like Christian love? That is 100% true. Nobody will condemn you faster to hell than a Christian on everything I love. Like, even on this app, it be so many creators trying to expose other creators, especially spiritual creators, for being witches, being warlocks, being demons, being evil, being possessed. I just be saying, like, who the fuck do you think you are to be trying to condemn somebody and tell them who they are and what they're doing? These be some of the people who done did some of the most fucked up shit in life, but now that they super holy and super Christian, they trying to condemn motherfuckers. I never understood that. And that brings me to my next topic of discussion. The relationship a lot of people have with God. A lot of people don't realize that their relationship with God is very narcissistic and abusive. Basically, no matter what God does, you think God is all good. That is literally narcissistic. God caused a flood and drowned the whole planet when that didn't need to be done. You're God. You could just snap your fingers and got rid of the motherfuckers that you wanted gone. You created a being that was going to deceive humanity, and you literally set him loose upon the world. Not only did you set him loose upon the world, but you made him perfect. You said it yourself. So a perfect being would also have perfect intelligence, right? Why would you allow your celestial being creation with perfect intelligence amongst your dumb little human creations? That shit makes no sense. But they wouldn't have a fucking chance. Then people be like, God does give you a choice. Just obey God and worship God or go to hell. That's not giving me a choice. That's giving me a fucking ultimatum. And I be like, people really don't see how narcissistic and abusive this fucking relationship is. Like, are y'all fucking high?
Whenever I say the God in the Bible is the devil, y'all always get mad at me. Y'all don't even know the truth. This is why y'all mad. If you actually knew some shit, you would also know that this is meant to mind control you. Intuitive nature comes from consciousness. They went to go kill women that was intuitive and labeled them witches. You think Jesus would have been okay with that? If that needed to be done, Jesus would have made a Bible and went to go kill people and push that shit out onto other people his damn self. Every time I say what the fuck is really the truth, y'all look at me like I'm crazy and say I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm on to nothing. All of this bullshit. Let me pray. Pray is literally bad. All of this shit is meant to degrade you into thinking that you are less than God. And this nigga Jesus literally said that God is within you. I don't think y'all give a fuck about what Jesus says at this point. Consciousness is within you. They still researching consciousness because it can do so much shit. It's the existence of everything. But y'all use perception more than consciousness itself. They tell you not to question shit. You get the feeling of questioning some shit. You're not gonna hear it out. You're gonna ignore it. They do it on purpose, bro. And I'm starting to think y'all motherfuckers is low IQ.
Things that Christians aren't ready to hear. With me, a former pastor, now atheist. We don't know a single word that Jesus actually said. We know none. I want you to let that sink in. The Gospels were written decades after his death, in Greek, not in Aramaic, the language he actually spoke. Every quote is already a translation, and it's often reshaped to fit the agenda of different communities. The Gospels don't even agree on what Jesus said. Matthew's Lord's Prayer is different than Luke's. The Beatitudes aren't the same. Jesus' last words on the cross. 4 Gospels, 4 different versions. That's not consistency, that's contradiction. The earliest Christian writer, Paul, never records a single teaching of Jesus. No parables, no sermons, no prayers, nothing. So let's just be honest. When you say Jesus said, you're not actually quoting him. You're quoting church spin centuries removed. So let's stop pretending you got his actual words, because you don't. What you have is myth, editing, and wishful thinking dressed up as history.
Thank you for watching. Comment, like, share, follow.